I really want to know who you were before 50 because right now your story now it's like after 50 you had a new chapter
Mhm.
that like completely turned around your entire life, it seems like, from what I've read about you. But I want to know who was Lynn like growing up, you know, throughout your young years, your young adult years, and then the turning point from 50 onwards.
Yeah, well, at some point, early childhood, I just got very quiet. And whether it was some incident at school where I felt like a fool or, a third grade, something like that, I stopped raising my hand in class and stopped talking basically and just wanted to be in the shadows. I wanted to be invisible. I, I just didn't want to be seen. And
Mm,
I, my mom was pretty, I hate to use the word abusive, but she was abusive to my brother and she basically ignored my sister. And so I just tried to stay out of the way, is how I grew up. And then I ended
mm,
up marrying someone who um, was very much like my mother, strangely
mm,
enough. And I didn't realize for a long time um, how devalued I was, how I wasn't my own person. And I basically wasn't allowed to be my own person. And nothing against Christian ministry or anything like that, but my husband was in Christian ministry. We were in Christian ministry and he was the one that did that and I raised the kids. And we had to have this facade of being perfect. And it was all about the family reputation. It was all about appearances and looking good and being perfect. And I just retreated at one point into my own little world where I felt loved and valued and by somebody else, which was very
mhm,
contrary to my Christian values and everything like that. And I was very ashamed of this fantasy world that I had created, but I felt very stuck. I felt like I couldn't get out of that. And I soon found that it was really an emotional addiction, that I was addicted to the emotions of just feeling loved, feeling in love.
mm,
And 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 I just felt horrible about it. And so part of this journey that was in my 30s and so I was able to break out of that and become a runner actually as part of my journey out of that very dark time. And I really fell in love with running and just became
mm,
and we lived up in the mountains. We were very isolated. And uh, when I started running, I had no idea that I was going to be a runner. But
mm,
uh, living at a higher elevation and nowhere to go but up or down, and it was all very beautiful surroundings. It was all very addictive in a positive way. And I kind of found my passion. I found my strength and I found my own sense of identity through running and
mm,
and became much better at it than I had dreamed. Not that I was at an elite level or anything like that, but I was very good for my age group.
mm,
And I wouldn't have even thought that was possible. And I found joy there, and
Mm-hmm.
things that I had been missing. And meanwhile, my marriage was still just kind of crumbling, and things were difficult with the family, um and so I ended up um leaving, actually fleeing the situation, um right just before I turned 50, just a few months before I turned 50. And I I told you I was homeschooling. I had 6 kids, have 6 kids. They're all adults now.
Oh wow.
And my 2 youngest were 14 and 17 years old when I left home. And so when I got on my feet, um, financially, and got some stability in my life, I was able to take my 14 and 17-year-old sons with me into the nearby city from the mountains and start a whole new life as a single mom raising 2 teenage sons, going from the mountains to to this life just literally a stone's throw from the freeway. We were right by the freeway in this little apartment. And I'm working full time. I'm going to school, hoping to get admitted into nursing school. And so that, to answer a long answer to your question, um, that was kind of the start of my new life. But I
Hmm.
felt so devastated at that point. I felt so low, the lowest I've ever felt. And before I left, I just felt like my life was over, and that all there was left was just to endure to the end. And that's what I thought I was going to do until I just couldn't take it anymore. So,
Hmm.
that's my rock bottom right there, was when I left home and had started this new life. And I had no idea it was
Yeah.
going to turn out good. Really, I did not.
You mentioned you were addicted to love.
Mhm. Basically, yeah.
Where were you getting that love from?
My own mind, my own fantasy world that I created, and there was a person that I was attracted to, but it was like from afar. It wasn't, um, there was no affair or physical relationship or anything. But the more I tried to control my thoughts and emotions, like don't feel that emotion, don't think that thought, the the worse it got. And I
Hmm.
couldn't get out of it. And I was so disgusted with myself for that, for living there. And meanwhile, keeping up this facade of we're all so perfect. It was very
Hmm.
painful.
So you decided to leave right before you turned 50.
Hmm. Yeah. And I had gotten over all, that phase of my life, of that addiction, as I call it, that was in my 30s. And this, and so, but things did not improve in the marriage. In fact, they got a lot worse. And yeah, that's it. It was just a few months before I turned 50 that I actually got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore, how I was being treated.
Hmm. And you had 6 kids.
Hmm. Yeah.
Man.
And I felt like I was giving up my identity in taking that step to leave, and we were separated for 2 years before the divorce. And I wanted
Okay.
to give him the chance to understand,
Mm-hmm.
because and this is why I lost hope was, okay,
Mm.
this doesn't work. Counseling doesn't work. Reading books doesn't work. Talking doesn't work.
Yeah.
I went through the whole list of things.
Yeah, you
and
tried.
I,
Yeah.
and, and my last resort was to leave and to hope that
Mm.
that would get his attention. And
Yeah.
it wasn't um, like, oh, my needs aren't being met. Oh, I'm not fulfilled. No, I was happy to just survive,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the way I was being treated. I just mentally, emotionally, I just could not handle it anymore. I, I,
How are you being treated?
it was not physical abuse, but it was spiritual, emotional, mental.
Hmm.
Um, it just, I guess the main thing for me was I had no voice. I had no
Hmm.
ability to be me or express myself. It was all squelched,
Hmm.
and even the simplest decisions that I would make were under scrutiny.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you want yeah, a kind of a turning point for me when I realized this was about a year before I left. My mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and she had very little time to live. And so I ended up spending
Mm-hmm.
about 5 weeks away from home. And during that time, I was away,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized I couldn't think a thought without being afraid of
Hmm.
what my husband, what he would say about it, how he would
Hmm.
criticize it, or down to the
Yeah.
littlest thing, like, what are we going to do for dinner? It's like,
Yeah.
it was like I was in this mental trap.
Yeah.
And it took me that whole 5 weeks to start to be able to think for myself and speak for myself and not worry about what somebody else was going to say about my every tiny little action.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like a revelation to me. But then I thought, okay, he's always telling me that I'm making this up. Maybe I really am making it up. Maybe this really was all in my head. And I
Hmm.
go back home after actually, what I had to go back home. He told me I had to go back home just a day or two before she actually passed away. My mom actually passed away. And, and then I immediately came back and, took care of all those kinds of arrangements. But, um, uh, I came back home, and yes, it was every bit as bad as I thought it was. But now I had taken a step back and I could see it for what it was.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, I am being controlled down to the tiniest little details. It is
Hmm.
crazy. And I couldn't really see it before. I couldn't see it until I had been away from home for that amount of time and got that a
Yeah.
little more clarity in my mind. And um, And so I stayed for another year because I basically was not strong enough to leave. And,
Yeah.
um, but I finally just had to. I just literally could not handle the way I was being treated anymore. And I left.
Yeah, that time that you had away was a chance for you to finally like get some space to reflect on the situation.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And find a little bit of
And
peace and clarity.
yeah,
Yeah.
and now you during this time you decided to start running. Well, before that you were already starting to run.
Hmm.
Did you find running sort of like what did you find in running that made you so attracted to it?
Oh, just the sense of freedom, that it such an exhilaration to be able to, because we were in the mountains, to be able
Mm.
to run up a 2 or 3 mile long hill and, or to be able to run for 2 hours and not feel tired and then just go in to the house and start my day. And just that strength and overall feeling of well-being um, was just miraculous to me. And it was such a time of being able to clear my mind and have that time to myself and just kind
Mhm.
of be alone in nature and all that beauty around me. Um, it really became a very, very meaningful time for me. But as life got more stressful in the later 40s, um, I wasn't running nearly as much. And
Mm.
and I by the time I left home, I really wasn't running. I had started gaining weight. I, I gained weight um, during the time that my mom was sick when I was away from home, and then I had not been feeling well for a while, so I gained weight around that, and then I was in school and working full time and starting to go to nursing school, and the weight just kept creeping on. And so it was kind of, I think, about 5 pounds a year that I was gaining at that point. And
Mhm.
then running does not feel that good when
Yeah, you have
you know,
weight on you.
instead of feeling like I'm just floating along or just flying, now I'm
Mhm.
plodding and I'm out of shape. And where did that feeling of freedom go? And I
Hmm.
and meanwhile, I'd had people for years saying, "Oh, just wait till you turn 40. Just wait till you turn 45. Just wait till you turn
Oh, yeah.
50." And I'm thinking, okay, now I have turned 50. Okay, now menopause has hit and I'm so darn busy all the time. Maybe they're right. Maybe this is it. Maybe I'm never going to find that feeling of athleticism and power and freedom again.
Mhm.
And that was depressing. I didn't like that idea.
So that then where are you now from that point?
I completed my first Ironman a year ago. And
Congrats.
thank you. And I really found that because in my early 40s, I had done a sub 4 hour marathon. And for serious runners, that might not sound very fast, but for me, that that was good. And I always wanted to repeat that, to be able to do that
Mm.
again. And so later 50s, when I started really trying to get back in shape and get into running again at the level that I had been in my early 40s, that was my thought, was I want to do a 4-hour marathon. And I never could motivate myself to get to the level of training that I had been at earlier in my, the early
Mm.
40s. I kept setting the goal and missing the goal by a lot. And that got discouraging. And then
Mm.
I got this email from the Ironman Corporation saying, hey, we're bringing back Ironman Coeur d'Alene as a legacy race. And it was after COVID, and they just wanted to do this race again. And I got the email in August of 2020, and the race was going to be June of 2021. And reading that email, and I never thought I would do a full Ironman. I just thought I wouldn't be capable of it. But reading that email gave me this little spark inside that I hadn't felt in a long time. And
Mm.
I realized, okay, this is it. For one thing, it's such a big goal that I'm going to have to be consistent. But it's just finding that little flame that used to be there so long ago, and
Yeah.
just igniting that I signed up right away, and didn't end up finishing that one, but 2 years later, they did Ironman Coeur d'Alene again, and that's the one that I finished. So,
So what exactly is Ironman?
oh yes, so it is a 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike, and then a marathon, 26.2 miles.
Oh, it's a triathlon.
Yes, yes. And it's so,
Okay.
yeah, total 140.6 miles, which is
Wow.
insane.
That's an accomplishment.
Thank you. Yeah. And I mean, I, I am so in love with the sport. I'm so in love. And I did do triathlons earlier, when I was a runner, in my 40s. I was doing triathlons, but it was more, and I enjoyed it, but it was more like, okay, I don't want to burn myself out running. I don't want to overdo it on the running.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a way that I can spread out that passion between three separate disciplines and not overwork myself on any one of them. And but I love the bike and the swim now just as much as the run. So yeah, it's just been an
And
incredible journey.
you accomplished this after you were 50. How old were
Six
you?
When I completed that Ironman, I was 63. That was last year. So
Oh, last year.
I'm 64 now. So and I'm still going strong. Right about that time, I hired a coach, and so that he's a world-class coach, and he's working
Mm.
with me all the time on all of it, and I'm so grateful.
Mm-hmm.
To go from the point of feeling like, okay, I just got to hang on till the end. I just got to survive, and I'm so healthy. I'm so fit that I'm probably going to live a really long time. And that just did not sound like fun to me, to have this long life of just surviving.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
now relish every day. I just love the new life that I have, and I'm just so grateful to be living my dream, basically.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
You said you were just enduring. This was before 50, right? When you
Yeah,
were just enduring.
right, right.
And then when did you stop enduring? And when did you start living your best life?
Well, after after the separation, when I left, I felt so devastated for so long. And I felt so stuck in my life, even though it looked on the outside like I was moving forward. I didn't feel that way internally. And a friend recommended that I go to a hypnotherapist. And this man, he heard my story and he was getting prepared. He made this recording for me. So this is like the therapy session. And so he's speaking it and he's recording it. And
Mm-hmm.
what he said was these three words that just, I think, turned my life around, which were you are enough. And he went on to elaborate on that idea. And the tears just started streaming down my face. Like, what? I couldn't even comprehend it. I I couldn't understand it, those words, because I had never in my life felt like enough. And he gives me the CD after this session, and I just listened on repeat. I just, like, at first, probably 5 times a day, I would listen to that recording that he gave me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just let it sink in, and new ideas in my brain, kind of rewiring my brain,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm enough. I don't have to be better than anybody else, but I don't have to think of myself as worse than anybody else either. I don't have to compare. I can just be me, and I can just be enough as me. And I still had a long road after that to come out of the years of trauma, whether it was not being treated well by my peers or by my mom or by my husband, or, it uh, clearing out all that mind trash and just being able to have a clear mind and to learn how to live in gratitude for this beautiful life that I've been granted. Um, it was a slow process, but um, that was the turning point. Was those three little words that he spoke over me.
Is there, what do you think it was growing up that, for the reason that you didn't feel like you were enough?
I think a lot of us have a tendency to kind of diminish our accomplishments and magnify what we perceive as our failures or our shortcomings. And but I looked around and I just felt like the oddball, growing up. I just felt like I didn't fit in, I didn't belong. And it comes down to I wasn't enough, you know.
Mm.
And I was one that, I would be happy to have one or two close friends. I didn't need to be the popular girl and, have
Yeah.
I didn't need that, but I would have one or two close friends, but otherwise, other than that, I would just want to hide and be in the background and not be seen. And I don't know why I thought of myself that way,
Mm-hmm.
but I still feel rather socially inept, and it's a miracle to me that
Mm.
I want to, be a speaker um, and find my voice and tell my
Yeah.
story because
Yeah.
uh, what I told you before about the emotional addiction and stuff, I thought I would
Yeah.
never tell anybody that.
Mm-hmm.
And now I want to tell my story. And it's not to self-aggrandizing, it's not that. It's because so many people, and especially women in my age range, they're so caught in shame and they're hiding. They're hiding their own selves and their own essence. And if we all keep on that facade of oh yeah, everything's great, and just put on this happy face and pretend that we're fine, we're just hiding, and we're not living our best lives.
Yeah.
And so that's why I tell this story, because it's not pleasant for me to tell. I don't like to talk about it, but I want other, not just women, but anybody to experience real freedom that starts on the inside, and can be expressed, because we all have so much inside us to express to the world and to give to the world. And we can't if we're hiding away in shame and guilt and not enoughness.
Yeah, I agree with that because I feel like a lot of the trauma and pain and the enduring
Mhm.
over years is what keeps us stuck. It's what's
Right.
holding us back. And
Exactly.
even though the pain of going through that expression and kind of freeing yourself, you're kind of freeing yourself
Hmm.
from this mental prison that
Yeah,
we've created for
exactly.
ourselves when you express those emotional pains or whatever that you needed to express. Because something I always say is somebody that's truly healed, they won't be triggered by certain topics or events.
Right.
I'm sure you've talked to somebody or had a moment in your life where somebody will get triggered and they'll either go off the deep end and like arguing or whatever. And
Mhm.
if you're truly healed, you'd be more at peace.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the difference is night and day. You can't just pretend to
Hmm.
be free. There's no pretending that. Um, it's real or it's not. And I can definitely still go down into downward spirals, but
Hmm.
I'm so used to living in peace and abundance and gratitude that I can recognize now so much more quickly when I'm
Mm-hmm.
stressed out or angry or all these other emotions. And I can say, okay, wait a minute. How can I turn this around? This is not where I want to live. This is no longer my address, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and um, because I've spent enough time there in the past.
Yeah.
I don't need to live there anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest reasons people feel stuck, or they feel not good enough, or they feel like they can't move forward, is because we keep replaying this scenario or narrative in our head, that we keep living in the past where we forget to
yeah.
live in the present.
Oh, it's so true. And the thing I realized, even in my mid 50s, and I had remarried and I was having a happy life. And I realized, okay, I'm still giving my ex way too much real estate in my head. Why am I doing that? I have a good life. I don't need to be living there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And learning how to turn those thoughts around and not live there anymore. That was a major thing, just breaking that attachment to the old ways of thinking. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that was huge for me. And now I teach women how to rewire their brains so they they can have new thought processes. They don't have to be playing that old soundtrack over and over in their heads anymore.
Yeah. What does your day to day look like now?
I get to coach women in how to be free, and and the thing that I help people with is food addiction, emotional eating. And the reason that I chose that path for myself, besides the weight that I had gained in my 50s and was thinking, oh, I'm never going to be able to get this off. But the other thing was, I knew what it was like to be in an addiction. And
Mm.
I had gone through the process of getting myself out of that addiction. And I realized all addiction is really pretty much the same thing. It's all reaching outside of yourself to
Yeah.
numb a pain or cover up
Yeah.
a pain that's on the inside. And as long as we're doing that, we're never going to be free. And so healing from the inside out is is basically what I teach, because that's the path. Even, whether it was in my 30s or 40s or 50s, that was the path to freedom for me. And so anyway, I get to do that, and I get to work out, and I consider that part of my job, but I absolutely love it. So between swimming, biking, and running, and just training at the level that I need to be able to complete an Ironman, um, that takes some time, and just and just getting to spread the message through one or another means,
Mm-hmm.
that we really can be free, and we really can be living our best life, no matter where we've been or what we've had to overcome or how old we are or what our starting point is. Um, we really can start right now living our best life. It's not over.
Yeah, you've accomplished a lot since after you turned 50.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey for me. And I'm just really grateful for it.
What do you usually tell people that feel like it's too late?
I tell them that this is a belief. We all have stories that we tell ourselves. And we don't have to believe that story anymore. What if there was a different story that we could tell ourselves instead? That it's not too late. It's not over. You're not a slave to this thing that's been holding you back, no matter what it is. What if you had a new story that you could be free and you could start living your best life? And, just that little shift. Like,
Yeah.
what if you really were enough?
Yeah.
What if that really was true? What if you could start loving yourself and being kind to yourself and treating yourself the way you treat everybody else, with love and kindness? You deserve it just
Yeah.
as much as they do.
Yeah. Something I always tell people is if you think these limiting belief thoughts, you could always think the opposite as well.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So it's like, oh, like you think it's too late. Well, maybe it's not too late,
Right.
or you think you're too old, or maybe you're not too old. You can just do it anyways, like,
Yeah. Yeah. And you can start finding evidence to the contrary. You can start finding evidence for the new story that you want to.
mm,
And then that story becomes more true than the old story that you used to believe. And then you just can't believe the old story anymore because you've got so much evidence to
yeah.
the contrary.
Yeah, and that's literally the definition of confidence is building
Uh-huh.
proof of what you don't believe in, building proof against that. So
Right.
now you have confidence in it because you've started.
Exactly. Yeah. And every little step you take in the direction that you want to go, you take hold of that and you emphasize it in your mind so that that's what becomes your new reality. And
Mm-hmm.
then even if you blow it, even if you fall off the wagon or in one way or another, you're still making progress. You're still getting stronger because the important thing is you're picking yourself up and you're getting right back on the wagon. And that is more evidence that, yes, you can do this. Yes, you can be making forward progress toward your goal.
Mm-hmm.
So even use your failures as confidence builders because you didn't stay down there on the ground. You picked yourself up and you
Mm-hmm.
started moving forward again. And that took tremendous strength that you didn't even know you had. So,
Mm-hmm.
taking everything and turning it around to, yes, I'm on this path. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I am enough. And yes, I value and honor myself enough in those difficult moments to make the choices that are for me, that support the life that I want for myself, instead of taking me in the direction that I've been going forever.
What about fear? Because I think that's another thing that holds a lot of people back. And at least for me, I get these thoughts as well sometimes that I try my best to nip in the bud,
Mhm.
like for example, one of my goals for this podcast is to reach 1 million subscribers on
That's
YouTube.
awesome. Yes.
So, and often I get these fearful thoughts like, okay, what if I do? Like, what am I gonna do then? Or how am I gonna ever do that? Like thoughts like that.
Mhm.
What do you tell people that maybe are on this path of confidence and freedom, but they get these fearful thoughts?
Oh, I was so ruled by fear. I was such a fearful person. And it still boggles my mind that like even that I'm here doing this podcast with you
Yeah.
here now, like what? It doesn't even
Uh,
make sense to my timid little former self.
hmm.
or or what if I do this Ironman and I come in last?
Hmm.
And I was actually on a Facebook Live, and those words just kind of came out of my mouth. Like, what if I come in last? And it was like this switch flipped in my mind. And I thought, I hope I come in last because that will mean that I finished my first Ironman.
Yeah.
And how can I call that a loss? But it's the turning point for me is to turn failure around to
Mm.
where it's not failure. You basically cannot fail unless you quit and give up
Hmm. Yeah.
because a lot of our fear is based on perfectionism. We want to be perfect. And I have to come on here with you and not be perfect and allow myself to not be perfect and not be this
Yeah.
great, smooth speaker. Maybe I'm because I used to be so hesitant in my speech, and I still have
Mm.
that hesitancy in my speech. But to get on and just
Yeah.
and
Just do
and
it.
not be thinking of myself. That's the thing is if it were up to me and my former self, yeah, I would just go hide away up in the mountains and never see anybody. I could do that. Pretty much an introvert. But I think, no, my story has value for other
Mm.
people. And just like you doing this podcast, it's not for you. It's you're not doing it to build a big name for yourself because you would be running this podcast much differently. You've made this all about me. And it's for the purpose
Mm.
of inspiring other people. And yeah,
Yeah.
that would be cool. That will be cool when you reach 1 million subscribers.
It will be.
It
Yeah.
will be. It will be because you will get there because you're not going to quit. You're not going to give up, right? But
No, I'm not.
it's not about the number with all those zeros and commas in it,
Yeah.
right? It's not about that big number. It's about the individual people, 1 million of those individual people that you can reach
Mm.
by interviewing people that have a story to tell, by telling your own story, by inspiring them. And then even those million, they all have friends and they
Yeah.
all have influence. So even if they don't tell anybody about your podcast, something in one of those podcast episodes touched them on some level. And then maybe they treated another human being differently, or maybe they treated themselves differently. in a way that elevated themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and it has this ripple effect. And you think 1 million subscribers and you have some small impact on or big impact on each one of those individuals, you can change the world. And then it's not about you anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing for me is it stops being about me. Like,
Mm.
me doing an Ironman at 63, that's not just about me.
Mm.
That's about what's possible.
Yeah. Other people see you
Yeah.
and they
Huh.
don't have an excuse.
Maybe I could, it doesn't have to be an Ironman. Maybe it's a 5K. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be anything athletic. It, it's what's in you. It's what's inside of you to be expressed out into the world and to overcome that little bit of fear of, oh, maybe I'll look stupid. Maybe I'll, it
Yeah, what
won't turn
about
out right.
that? What about that? That's another big fear that I often think of is the fear of scrutiny, the fear of what other people think of you, despite good intentions, despite whatever intentions you have. I think no matter who you are, you'll always get some type of scrutiny or
Mhm.
feelings, other opinions from other people. How do you how do you deal with that fear?
Oh, and that was the biggest thing for me, I think, why I wanted to be
Hmm.
invisible.
Oh,
Because
how other people see you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And and just not making it about me anymore. And like for you, 1 million YouTube subscribers, you're gonna have so many haters. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't help it, right? If you're on social media in any form,
Public,
you're
yeah.
gonna have haters. And again, it just has to not be about me. I can look at because I've been told I'm a scam, I'm a scam,
Oh, really?
something like that. And that has no effect on me because I know
You know
that
who you are.
that
Yeah.
I've helped so many people, and
Yeah.
I help them transform their lives. I don't transform their lives. They transform their lives. I'm just like the tour guide on this
Yeah.
new journey. But I love the transformations. I love seeing them on Zoom and just
Mhm.
this light dawns on their face like, oh, I never thought of it that way. I know that the value that I'm giving is far beyond anything I could charge because I'm giving them a whole new life.
Mm.
And so somebody says, "Oh, this is a scam. You're a scammer." It has no effect on me. It could be like, "Oh, you've got purple spots. You're covered in purple spots." Or, you're
Yeah,
it's
it's like somebody telling you a new narrative that they're trying to create, but
right.
you know the truth. You know the inner narrative that you tell yourself is the truth and not other people's narratives.
Right, exactly. And so it just has when you look at it that way, it just has no effect because
Yeah, I
you
think a
have that
lot of these
integrity.
yeah, I think a lot of these people that try to bring other people down are just facing their own demons, facing their own
Exactly.
battles. And you see online, it's so easy to just text a hateful comment and
Mhm.
they get this burst of dopamine because they felt good just hating on somebody because
Exactly.
maybe their life isn't where they want it to be, so they can bringing somebody else down to their level feels good to them.
Yeah.
So what I do is every time I see a hateful comment now, I just say cool or okay or don't even respond.
Mhm.
Don't give them attention.
Right.
Um, and like 99% of the time, I just come at it from a point of curiosity. You know, that's another reason, one of the reasons I started this podcast is because I love to hear people's stories and
Mhm.
I'm a curious person and it's even part of my motto, you know, like stay curious.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I love that, just approaching other people's hate from that aspect of curiosity. Um, that can turn it
Yeah,
around in your
like
own
you
mind.
don't
Yeah,
yeah, like you don't let other people get inside your head.
right.
You're just curious about why are they like so hateful, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And meanwhile, you're just spreading your light. And, you know,
Just doing
sometimes,
my own thing.
yeah, yeah, that's so good.
But what's what now? What's next? What's now? What's going on?
I am training for we call it a 70.3. So the full Ironman distance is 140.6 miles. And so the half is 70.3. And I'm
Hmm.
actually going to the World Championships for the 70.3 distance this December in New Zealand. So I qualified
Oh
for
wow.
that race last year in Australia. And that was just like a high point of my life was actually being told that I could go to the world championships. And so that's coming up in just a few months. And I really don't care about what place I come in. I just, the
Yeah.
idea of just being there and being in that vibe,
Yeah.
um, and being in New Zealand, and um, I'm super excited for that. So that's the big thing on my horizon, and just dedicating myself to my training at at
Hmm.
the optimal level that I can, um, to do my very best.
What is the World Championships? What are like is there an age group? Is it
Yeah.
just free for all or what?
Well, it's all age groups, which is what I
Okay.
loved when I started running. Um, I love the idea of age groups, that you're really not competing
Okay.
against 20 and 30-year-olds.
20
You're,
year
yeah,
olds
you're
fresh.
you're competing against your own gender and your
Yeah.
own age group. It goes in 5-year
Okay.
increments, and it's the same with Ironman. And they recently started a thing where the world championships are divided into one day for women and one day for men, which is a
Uh,
wonderful thing. It's all the same course and all the same rules and everything like that. But the wonderful thing is that it opens the door for so many more women to
hmm.
to be able to participate,
Yeah.
because they used to do it proportionally by how many showed up in each age group for each gender.
Okay.
And so, Ironman is still 80% men and 20% women. And not very many older women. So um it's really cool to me that I even get to participate at that level, and then it just the camaraderie that's going to be there at the World Championships, where it's a whole
Yeah.
day just for the women, and then a whole day just for the men, and we get to cheer the men on. And um, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. That's something I miss. Like I I want to do something like that. I was thinking about joining a rucking team. Have you heard of rucking?
I've heard of it. Tell me what it is.
Rucking is kind of like where you basically just carry this heavy sack
Okay.
or where
That's what I thought it was.
yeah, you either carry a heavy backpack or sack or you wear a weighted vest
Uh-huh.
and then you either go on long like walks or like light jogs for miles.
Yeah, my
And
son does that or used to do that a lot. He was in the military also. So,
yeah,
yeah.
something about the camaraderie is just that's something I miss about being in the military. Well, what about your book? We haven't talked about your book.
Um, my book is Be Free Beyond 50. So my business is Be Fit Beyond 50, but I really didn't want to write a book about fitness. And I put a lot of
Yeah.
running stories in there because running really was my path to freedom. But this is about all of us learning how to be free, and free from all the things that are holding us back, like what you mentioned about fear and the lack of confidence,
Mm-hmm.
and and all those things. But that is the message that is important for
Mm.
me to share, that I really want. I just really want to get it out there.
It's already out, right?
Yeah, it's
The
been
book.
out for a couple of years, and
Okay.
um, I didn't do a very good job of promoting it because,
Yeah.
and in the book I talk about my father-in-law that was living with us, and then my husband that I was pretty much a full-time caregiver for both of them at the time this book came out, and my father-in-law passed away just about 2 months after the book came out, and my husband passed away about 2 months after that. And so it was, I had no real desire to uh, put the
Do
effort
the
into
work to promote
marketing,
it.
promote everything like that. I
Yeah.
just kind of went by the wayside. So it's not too late. It's never too late.
It's never too late. Yeah.
So yeah.
Wait, so your ex-husband or
No, my second husband.
oh, so
Um,
you're
I,
you're widowed?
yeah, I remarried, and he he passed away. It's been 2 years now, 2.5 years since he passed away. Um, yeah.
Are you dating now?
At the 2 year mark, well, a little before the 2 year mark, I took off the wedding ring. I wore it for almost two
Okay.
years. And then at the 2 year mark, I decided I would do the dating app thing, which I never dreamed I would do.
Was
And
that cringe? That was cringe for you.
well, yeah, it was. And it was kind of funny and I'm really surprised we're talking about this. But
It's fine.
it was like going from it was like being catapulted back into my 18 to 20-year-old self to actually
Mm,
start dating again. It's like the lessons I'm
yeah.
learning because I didn't, I wasn't dating or looking to find my second husband. We just found each other and,
Yeah.
and it
It was
just
natural.
happened. It just happened. And we knew we were right for each other, all this stuff. So I have, in the past several months, I've had all these lessons that I feel like, okay, I should have learned this several decades ago.
Younger.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, just learning it now. But I'm in a more, I'm off the dating apps and um,
Just
I'm
letting nature
good.
take its course.
Yes, and there's there there is somebody that I'm interested in, and he's interested in me, but we're just kind of waiting to see where it goes. And meanwhile, I'm realizing, you know what? I'm good being single, and I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good with my life. I love my life, and if it works out with him, that's fantastic. And if it doesn't, I'm good with that. And I don't need to be shopping on the dating apps. I
Yeah.
feel like I've had enough of that.
No.
I've had enough of that.
Yeah. I did too. And I'm only 29, but I've been through a lot like in my relationship life that I think the best relationship is two people that really know themselves and
Mhm.
really practice self-love,
Yes.
and two people that really want to be together.
Right.
I think when you find that, you know,
Yeah. And what I've found and what I tell my clients too is if you come into a relationship needy, you
mm-hmm,
will never get your needs met. It will
mm,
never happen. You have to come into a relationship full
mm-hmm,
in yourself and not like self-absorbed, self-centered, but full. And the other person comes in full.
mm-hmm,
And then it can be this beautiful thing where you're nurturing and loving and supporting each other instead of trying to
mm-hmm.
get
Take
something
or
from the other person, no matter
yeah,
what it is. Because I had
yeah,
one client that would say, I need a husband. I need to be in a relationship. I'm not going to be happy unless and she's telling me all this stuff. And I said,
mm,
you're not going to find it from that perspective. It's
yeah,
going to be a lousy relationship if you do find it. Sorry to tell you.
yeah,
You got to you got to meet your own needs first.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, good point that you brought up. So true.
100%. Um, so is there anything else you'd like to say before we move on?
uh, you've let me do a lot of talking, so I've said a lot.
All right, well, I already pulled out a question from the game.
Cool.
Can you share something taboo about the last time that I doubted myself?
Last time that I doubted myself. I do doubt myself all the time. I don't want to come across like I just have this ultra confidence because I still have the lingering effects of living in fear for
Yeah,
so many years.
I
But
think we all do.
but
Yeah.
standing at the start line, not to keep bringing up Ironman, but I think it's just such a picture of life,
Mm-hmm.
that it's more like, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? What am I doing? Why am I doing
Mm-hmm.
this to myself? and what's going to happen? And just like we talked about, being able to be in the moment and quiet down those fears and not let them take over, but just turning it around and telling myself a new story. Like, what if this is going to be the most fantastic day of my life? And so the last Ironman that I was in was just this last April in Houston. And it was going really well. I was feeling really strong and really good. And um, there were emergency personnel standing on the side of the road who they were going to take care of somebody who had crashed or who was needing medical attention. And this one paramedic, I saw him and he's looking in the opposite direction and I'm coming and he's looking the other way. And just as I'm right up to him, he steps right out in front of me. And the only thing I could do is crash into him. And I just splatted on the pavement.
Oh man.
And my finger was pointing the wrong direction. And
Ooh.
I had to snap it back into place. And then the race medics, the volunteers, one gal came up to me and helped me, get over to the table where she could get me patched up and everything like that. And just getting back on the bike and finishing the bike portion of the race. That happened at about mile 50. And then I ended up being 10 minutes after the cutoff for the bike to where I couldn't do the run. And but I was so proud of myself for finishing. And so the doubt in there
Mm.
of, okay, I'm all banged up. My face, I ended up with a black eye. I
Ooh.
looked I had road rash and
Did you snap your own finger back into
yeah,
place?
yeah, I did. I just,
You
oh, okay.
snapped your. That
It's like,
is.
I think it's the adrenaline, it's just like,
Oh
eh,
yeah,
but you
definitely
just,
adrenaline.
okay, you're so focused. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna, I'm just gonna do this. But so many times to answer the question during that 112-mile bike, because I still had 62 miles left to go after the crash.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, can I really do this? What am I doing? So many doubts came in and so many opportunities to just overcome those doubts and just keep going and just say, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just going to do the best I can and yeah, hope for the best. And it didn't turn out the way I had hoped. I had hoped that I would finish and be able to qualify for the world championships for the full distance. Um, but it didn't work out that way. So anyway, it's okay. So my biggest thing is to answer this question is uh, the belief that I have adopted that nothing happens to me. It only happens for me. And the other corollary, I guess, to that is everything always works out perfectly for me.
Hmm.
And so that doesn't leave room for a lot of doubt. When I've anchored those thoughts in, then I can just keep moving forward. I don't have
Hmm.
to let the doubts take over. They just are a little thing off to the side. And I grab hold of my main belief that everything happens for me. So somehow this paramedic walking straight in front of me who should have been aware of that this is a bike race, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be mad at him. I didn't have to say go through all the what ifs or anything. I could just continue to be grateful
Oh,
for the
like blaming
day.
him or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't have to be mad at him and just I didn't have to go there at all. But I just could keep moving forward and keep going.
No, I like that because something I tell myself whenever I have doubtful thoughts is just taking it day by day and just doing whatever I feel doubtful about.
Uh-huh.
So it's like if you feel doubtful about something, and for me I often get anxious about it. It's like, okay, well, often I feel less anxious when I just do the thing and I feel
Right.
better about doing it instead of procrastinating or
Yeah.
sitting in these doubtful thoughts and just letting them linger.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just take the
Right.
action of whatever you feel doubtful about, and more often than not, that anxiousness and the doubt will start to go away for me.
Exactly. Yeah. And just sitting there just makes it worse. It,
Yeah, you got to do
yeah.
something.
It just makes all those doubtful thoughts all the louder, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, the action, the moving forward is what quiets those down.
So I ask all my guests the same final questions, and the first question is, what is your biggest regret in life?
You know, I really deliberately choose not to live in regret.
Hmm.
Um, because I could regret my decision to marry my husband, my first husband, and that was a 30-year marriage, and it was not a happy marriage, and I could regret that. But then I think, okay, then I wouldn't have these six amazing humans that are my offspring.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't be sitting here right now. I wouldn't have this life that I have right now. That just is so mind boggling to me. I just can't even comprehend that. And so how can I even spend a moment in regret, you know? But
Hmm.
that would be the biggest thing that I would regret. And that would be the most foolish thing that I could possibly regret. So there's just not room. I'm really good at remembering stupid stuff that I've said or done,
Hmm.
and feeling that cringy feeling, you know, like, oh, why did I say that? Oh, why did I do that? That was stupid. But then I just turn it around, like it's all part of my learning. It's all part of
Yeah,
my
it's part of
growing.
the story.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
What is something that you would have regretted if, let's say, you were on your deathbed and there'd be one thing that, man, I just wish I would have done that.
Yeah, if I weren't putting myself out there and speaking my truth,
Mm.
because I was afraid of looking foolish. I was afraid of not being a good speaker or afraid of some comment that some, random person said. If I
Yeah.
held back and I was, or if I didn't tell my story that I
Mm.
that I really don't like to tell, if I if I held back on that and it didn't help somebody that would have benefited from that, from hearing that, um, that would be a regret. And I don't want to have that regret. I really don't.
I like that. That's good. Who or what has made the biggest impact in your life?
I know I'm overlooking a lot of amazing people that have helped me so much, and but the thing that comes to mind, quite honestly, is when I first started walking. Um, because I was the mother of 6 kids, I had no ability to be outside by myself for so long. I was 16 years of pregnant or nursing um, during that period of time. I was never by
Yeah.
myself. And when the
Yeah.
oldest kids were old enough to take care of the youngest, and I could step outside
Yeah.
by myself, and I thought, I was 38 or so years old, and I thought, well, it's too late to run, but I can at least walk and I can enjoy being out here in the wilderness by myself.
Mm.
And and that was just such a beautiful thing that I was able to do. And then I just made this decision. Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm just gonna see what it's like to run a few steps and see if I
Mm.
still can. And yeah, lo and behold, I didn't die. I wasn't really too old. And then I took off from there. And I think that was one of the huge turning points of my life was
Mm.
transforming into a runner in spite of what I believed about myself or what I could accomplish.
Yeah. I think people often are afraid to start because they're often afraid to make a fool of themselves because you always, no matter what you do, you always have to start as a beginner. Even
Exactly.
the the best, most masterful professional, they all started from somewhere,
Yeah.
and you proved to yourself that you could do it.
Well, and the biggest thing, and this is what I tell my clients too, is that the the beautiful thing is I had no expectation on myself because I really believed
Hmm.
I was too old to run. And
Yeah,
so
that's huge.
basically every step that I took, I would tell myself, not bad for a 38-year-old mother of six, you
It
know.
was like a
Ev-
accomplishment every
yeah,
time.
and everything
Yeah.
I did was not bad, and I had no expectation. And if I had
Yeah.
started with the expectation of I'm going to run a 4-hour marathon, it never would have happened. It never would have
No, that
happened.
is that's that's huge. That's vital because
Yeah.
I I read the it's a spiritual book called the Bhagavad Gita,
Oh, uh-huh.
and in there he tells a story of doing what you desire and letting go of the expectations of a
Yes.
result, and usually doing it in a service type, like you're doing something you desire in service of not yourself, but other people, maybe a greater good or whatever you're doing it not selfishly, but
Hmm.
selflessly
Yes.
for other people. And then if you can do that of which you desire and also let go of the expectations of whatever goals you have. Like it's good to have goals, but don't focus so much on the goals. Just focus have the work be the goal. Like
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Like
Hmm.
if you want to run a marathon, don't have run a marathon as the goal. Have just run every day as the goal.
Right. Right.
And then you will sometimes surprisingly just end up reaching your goal if you have that mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of the women that I help, their goal is to lose so many pounds, they,
Mm,
and so I will tell them, don't focus on that goal. Focus on the life that you really want for yourself when that weight has come off. And, focus on the outcome, the vision of what really lights you up. And as you're working toward that, you're going to start making choices that align with that future vision of yourself.
yeah.
And you're not going to be making these same choices that have caused the weight to come on in the first place. You're going to be choosing so much better for yourself, and you're going to find that the weight is coming off as a byproduct of achieving this goal. So
Mm,
yeah, exactly what you're saying. Don't focus on the end result of what, like me trying to focus on that 4 hour marathon, and I wasn't getting
yeah.
that. you know
It just makes you more discouraged when you
right.
focus on that.
Yeah.
What is one lesson that you had to learn the hard way?
Oh gosh, I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way. What's one of them? um Lesson that I've learned the hard way. uh I guess I'll, since I'm thinking of dieting right now, that in my 50s, when I had 25 or 30 pounds to lose, that had crept on over those years, um, I tried all the diets,
Mm-hmm.
and I could not lose the weight, and it was really discouraging for me. And so back to what we just talked about a moment ago, taking my mind off of the weight that I needed to lose and the dieting, and putting the emphasis or focus on just nourishing my body with healthy food. um, Everything changed for me in that. I was no longer dieting. I was, my diet was to care for myself and love myself, and and losing the weight was a byproduct of that. But that definitely took several years, and it's a big reason why
Mm-hmm.
I do what I do right now. Um, but yeah,
What are you
I
eating
learned all.
now?
I'm I'd say 95, 98% whole food, plant based. So I don't call myself vegan because I don't, you know, I, I don't, if I'm at a,
Vegans are vegans are more so activists.
right,
That's what I from my experience.
right. And, I'm happy to be contributing to the health of the planet, or, this or that,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not the activist in that way. I'm an activist for caring for yourself in the best possible way and putting the very best nutrition that you
Mm-hmm.
can into your body, and falling in love with that healthy food. That was the biggest thing for me, was I don't desire the junk anymore. I don't I don't want it. And if I make an exception because I'm with family, or, I'm at some social thing,
Mm-hmm.
I have something that I wouldn't normally eat, it doesn't matter. It's just not a thing. It's not a big deal. It's not like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I finally get to have this delicious thing that I've been longing for, which is what we
Yeah.
do to ourselves when we diet. Um, you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing for me, in that way. And I just love it. I mean, I do it because I love it. I love the food, and I love how it makes me feel. And I
So
love
what's like
how
what's
healthy.
your what's your like staple food?
One of them is hummus. I don't know why.
Okay.
I live on hummus.
Hummus and what? Like
I
what
like,
do you eat with
um,
it?
I don't want to make it into a commercial, but I love these, Mary's Gone crackers. I love just veggies with hummus, but there's this brand of crackers
Okay.
that's very whole food, and it's no oil in it, and it's just, very natural, and I think it's great with hummus. But I just started making my own crackers.
Mm.
And I really liked that a lot. So I can't wait to make my second batch of homemade crackers that are very much like the, um, what I would spend a lot of money for in the store. Um,
At Whole Foods.
yeah, right. Whole paycheck.
Yeah, this Whole Foods is crazy.
Yeah.
What about your favorite hummus? What brand?
I'm I guess I can't say a brand. I like hummus, but I'm trying to get more in the habit of just making my own.
Just making it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, having an instant pot and being able to cook all my Legos and grains is been wonderful for me. And so if I can keep up with, and because I love, for some reason I love the beans, and if I could just keep up with it. I think I think your body kind of adjusts to
Yeah.
a new way
Yeah.
of eating. The
A lot of
microbiome
fiber.
in your gut changes, and yeah, it's not as bad as people think, probably.
No, I remember being vegan for a month, or it was like almost 2 months. And I'm like big on protein, so I'm like, cause I weight train and I
Mhm.
do calisthenics a lot, and I'm like, how am I gonna get enough protein? And yeah, I was just eating nothing but beans, and those whole 2 months were just like so gassy.
Uh,
I think I think your body, yeah, it takes time for your body to adapt
Mhm.
to the like a mostly bean diet,
Mhm.
and it just creates all these gases, but I think you can adapt to it.
Yeah, and it's not like I eat mostly beans. It's just, I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and
Mhm.
grains, whole grains, and things like that too. Lentils are great. But the thing I was going to say about vegan, and I don't have anything against that, but you can be really unhealthy and be eating
As a vegan,
really,
yeah.
really
Yeah.
unhealthy. And that's the thing I
Sugar is still
learned.
vegan.
Yeah, Oreos or,
Sugar.
there's
Yep.
so much junk food that's vegan. And
Donuts.
yeah, so that's why I steer away mostly from that terminology, besides that I make exceptions that, somebody who's hardcore vegan would make. But
Like a good steak.
yeah, once in a while I'll have something. but, but even my exceptions probably are healthier than a lot of the normal diet. I can't veer too far off because um, I just don't like the
The feeling.
the idea
Yeah.
of putting unhealthy stuff into my body. So
Yeah, for me, I could really feel it like whenever I eat fast food or something. Um, I could feel you could feel the difference.
uh,
Like, but
yeah.
my next question is, what would you do or what would you experience in life if you had all the time and all the money in the world?
For me, it's traveling, and uh, this is so. For me, it would. This is how deranged I am. Doing Ironman triathlons all over the world and using that as the means to see the world. Then and like my
Yeah.
trip to New Zealand, I'm going to be spending close to a month there probably,
Wow.
and really see some, the North Island.
Yeah.
And I would like to do that all over the world, you know. Oh,
It sounds
yeah,
fun, yeah.
and it's expensive. It is expensive. Ironman is, and I'm so grateful that I can even do that.
Are you still working or?
Um, I quit when uh, my husband and I, second husband and I moved up into the mountains, kind of, and taking care of him. His care became a lot more extensive, and I decided to focus more on my business. And
Mm-hmm.
it hasn't, um, you know, it hasn't become, I guess, lucrative enough for me to continue that way. So I just recently took just a job as a front desk clerk at a Hilton hotel in my neighborhood. So, and that's just to kind of meet my expenses, so I'm not going in the hole while I'm my
Yeah.
building my dream. So, but I'm fortunate that I've been able to build my dream for quite a while now, and now just do this as a little thing on the side.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, no.
Something that I just started doing is uh getting back into personal training
Oh,
and
awesome.
having it more so like mindset based. Like I've been envisioning myself like training people, and the first thing I tell them is like, who do you want to be, you
Yeah.
know? And if you could see yourself as somebody more fit, more whatever, thinner, losing weight, if you could see that as somebody you want to be, then you can do it. And
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
but yeah, that's something I've been, because I'm unemployed right now too. But well, I'm unemployed, but I do this and
Right.
I'm gonna start personal training again.
Nice.
But yeah, my final question is, can you share something that you'd like to tell the audience to leave them with?
Believe in yourself. Love yourself. Don't listen to those doubts like we talked about. Know that you are enough. That, like Thomas just said, that if you can imagine it, if you can dream it, then you can achieve it and it's yours to achieve. And don't let the fears and the doubts get in the way. That's it.
Lynn Weimer. Everyone go check her out. What's your website?
It's befitbeyond50.com, and 50 is spelled out. It's not the numbers. So befitbeyond50.com, and you can reach me at Lynn, Lynn, at befitbeyond50.com.
And where can they get your book?
You can go on that website and click on the little link that says book, or you can go to befreebeyond50.com, or you can look it up on Amazon, Be Free Beyond 50. But just spell out 50.
All right. Everyone go support her. And as always, stay curious. Never give up. Keep going. You got this.
Oh, yes.
Peace. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.